Hello, everybody. Ross, the West Ham Network. I don't know why I said hello like that. Hope you're all safe and well. Happy Friday. Getting our way through this week, aren't we? Oh, it's the weekend. It's almost the weekend. It's home time, isn't it? It's home time. That's it. Put your feet up. 12:30 kickoff tomorrow. So, Rusty B early start for me. Oh, I'm looking forward to the game, but I'm not looking forward to get up so early. That's just me. I'm knackered. Thank God it's half term next week, and I have a bit of a lie-in. That's all I say. Anyway, as we tend to do on the Friday before a game, we present the press conference in terms of a synopsis of the David Moyes press conference in association with Football London. We're lucky enough to get Jonty, who's always in his car at Rush Green. He's wearing a lovely roll neck today, so he'll give because obviously he's in the room, so we can read on the Football London blog, the West Ham website, Jonty's Twitter, but it's great to get his opinion of how what the main talking points were, and then we go and dissect them a little bit more and see what actually Moyes said. So let's pass you over to a lovely roll-necked Jonty Coleman in the Rush Green car park.
Hello all, welcome back to the Rush Green car park for another one of his post pre-match press conference videos, you could call it. Obviously David Moyes has been speaking this afternoon to the media ahead of Saturday lunchtime's London derby against Chelsea. Obviously there's a lot of talk in the press conference about Chelsea's spending during the January window. I think it's around about 300 million. I think 600 million from this window just gone and the summer combined. So awful lot of talk about that. David Moyes was asked, would he want 600 million and 17 new signings? He kind of said, no, not really, in the sense that, it's really hard to you can only pick 11 players, and obviously you need squad depth and things like that, but to try and make a team, try and build a team and stuff, it's not easy. So, there's plenty to talk about that. He also spoke very highly of Chelsea boss Graham Potter. I don't know if you may or may not have seen. I did a story on Football London earlier this week. It's a really nice story actually. A few years ago, Graham Potter lost his father. I think in January 2020. It was actually just before Brighton were due to play West Ham, and David Moyes went out of his way to go and see Potter, make sure he's all right. And Potter a couple of years ago spoke very highly of that moment. So yeah, it's quite a touching moment. You can tell if they've both got a lot of respect for each other. They've always spoken very highly of each other. So yeah, I'd be very surprised if it's one of those games where both managers have a couple of rows on the sidelines. Team news wise, bit of a mix up really with Tilo Kehrer. So David Moyes basically from his comments has said that obviously he came off against Newcastle with an injury. We don't know what exactly, but he came off with an injury and it sounded like he was essentially out. Since those comments, however, West Ham have released some training ground photos. Now I believe they're from yesterday. I don't know about for definite. And Tilo Kehrer was in them. So yeah, but I wouldn't say he's out. He's definitely got a chance. He did say though that none of the other players that missed out Newcastle are expected to be due back. That's obviously Scamacca, Cornet, Areola. There's probably another one or two that I can't think. Azuma, sorry, yeah. So I don't think we'll see any of them back, or certainly if we do, it won't be many of them. David Moyes said it's going to be a pretty similar squad to one that went to Newcastle. That obviously included a couple of academy players, but on the bench, but it was probably one of West Ham's better results this season. It was only a point, but away at Newcastle, they're having a brilliant season. Obviously, just a few days after they reached the final of the Carabao Cup, so really good for West Ham. I think it's six games this year so far, calendar year, 3 wins, 2 draws and a loss. Now I appreciate some of those were perhaps on paper easier games, or games they definitely should have won, but they have won them. That's kind of a positive thing to take. Obviously going into this run against Newcastle, Tottenham and Chelsea, it was never Chelsea and Tottenham, sorry, it was never going to be easy to get loads and loads of points. We started encouragingly against Newcastle, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get something against Chelsea tomorrow, if not all 3. I think it certainly deserve. They've certainly shown encouraging signs and they're capable of doing it. And West Ham do have a good recent record at home at Chelsea, so you can never rule these things out. Every word David Moyes has said today, his press conference, obviously in the live section, that's all up on Football London now. There's a bit more to come in the embargo section. Obviously, it's we can't publish until 10:30 tonight. Stay tuned for that. There'll be a bit more to come. And yeah, all eyes to a very early start for unlike most games at the London Stadium. 12:30 kickoff tomorrow, and fingers crossed for a win for the Hammers.
Good old John T. Thanks again. And also, you can, as I said, you can follow me on John T. Coleman on Twitter or the Football London blog. And he's always on there. So I appreciate him taking his time out from his lovely roll neck to talk about the press conference. What's going on with Tilo Kira, eh? Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Definitely out. Oh, it's training. Oh, Moyes. We'll wait and see what happens with that. So that's what we do now is we dissect it. We go in and show you what he actually said. And obviously this is from the live section, as John T says. There will be the embargo section. By the sounds of it, there's some juicy things to talk about in the embargo section. So that will come out about 10:30, I think, on Friday. So in terms of what's he actually said in the embargo section. So in terms of the live section, asked about team news, and as we said, we mentioned it there. He basically said, probably much the same next week. And then, as John T alluded to, Tilo has a problem. Tilo came off with an injury. I don't think we've got any of the boys back from last week. So the likes of Skarmaka, the likes of Zuma, there was rumblings they could make the squad. I think it's a game too early personally, but we'll wait and see. But the Tilo Kira one, which will be interesting. I don't think he'll play. I think Ben Johnson, he came in and did very well and deputised for that for Kira in the right side of the back three. If we go for a back three, we'll wait and see, innit? Wait and see. Asked about the game against Newcastle last week. Obviously, it was a good point for us, I thought. We could have got more out of it, and Moyes agrees. It was a great point. If you watched how they played in the Carabao Cup, it did become a good point. We wanted a point. We had good moments off the ball and maybe missed a couple of chances to get in the first half. And I think every West Ham fan would have probably wanted that half to carry on. Probably one of the most high energy, pressing halves of football, particularly considering we went down 1-0 after about 2 minutes as well. I thought we recovered very, very well. Obviously, we've got a number of injuries. We spoke about them, Zuma, Cornet. We've got obviously Areola, Skarmaka, Zuma, some big names, big names. And Moyes was asked about it, and he just said, "Look, they're gonna come back. We're gonna get them on the way back now and get them back for the second half of the season." We're already in the second half of the season, David, just to let you know. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't think we have any. I can't see us having any surprises personally, from my perspective, for the Chelsea game. Maybe the Spurs game, I think, could be when we see a couple of these guys come back. Asked about signings and the likes of Paqueta and Aguerd, who are definitely seeing the value of them into the squad and why we bought them in for high price tags. Moyes alluded to that, saying, I'm beginning to see more of Naif Paqueta. We haven't got Skarmaka at the moment. Emerson has been more consistent. It does seem that we're starting to see these players a lot more. Asked about Chelsea. He says, well, it can take time, even with us bringing in new players. Obviously, we brought in 8 players in the summer. If you spend 600 million, it gives you half a chance. Hopefully, we can give Chelsea a good game. They're a good team. It's not an easy job. I said the hardest part as a manager last week was who to leave out. And I think when the likes of Skarmaka, when the likes of Cornet, but Zuma, Areola's at full strength, when these guys are back and they're fit, and we've got almost a fully fit squad, then it will be interesting to see I don't think Moyes has actually played what his first 11 is. He probably doesn't even know what his first 11 is, to be honest, because players have been in and out. We've only just seen now a level of consistency in terms of the selection. And then Zuma gets injured, and then Kira gets injured. So it's always one or two, and they make a massive difference. And on that point, in terms of the signings, obviously we brought in 8 signings. Chelsea brought in 17 signings. And as John T alluded to, he was asked whether he wanted 17 signings and 600 million. And unsurprisingly, David Moyes said no. I think sometimes you want to build a team and take it forward. It's not me to comment how Chelsea build their team. Asked about Graham Potter, he heaps the praise on Potter, saying he's an exceptional manager. It doesn't matter whether he's got 17 new players or 17 who have been there for years. It's great to see a British manager on one of the top clubs. Well, not in the league at the moment because Chelsea are only ninth. Eddie Howe probably is in the top club at the moment. And obviously, we played them, didn't we? We played them right at the beginning of the season in that sort of horror 6 or 7 games where no one thought we was going to get anything until about October in terms of any points on the board. And obviously, we had that real issue with the VAR, which cost us a point. And Moyes said, we haven't forgotten. We haven't forgotten about it. It was a rotten decision that day. A rotten decision. If we had picked at that point at Chelsea for confidence and morale at the time, who knows what it could have led to? And that's where we're at a situation now, I think, where we've got a situation where we're building momentum. The Newcastle game, great point. A great point. Not respect the point, love the point. Obviously, as Jonty said, we've had quite a good January, quite a good beginning of the year. We've only lost once, and that was to Wolves in a narrow sort of 1-0 loss. Obviously, we beat the likes of Everton and Derby, and I realise they are Everton and Derby, but you play who's in front of you, don't you? That's what I always keep saying. That's what people always say to me. So I think it's tomorrow. It's about getting some more points on the board. If we're picking up points every game, that's what we need to do. Points every game, just as a matter of course. And if they're 3, great. If they're 1, respect it. And I think I agree with John T. I think we can get something tomorrow. I really, really do. And obviously, the second half of the season could be very exciting for West Ham. You know, we've got the conference, we've got the FA Cup, obviously an upturning form in the Premier League. It could be a nice end to the season. The first half's been actually dreadful, to be honest. Asked about that, he just said it can be a really good season. We've got the Europe in March. Obviously, we start that in the 9th and 16th of March in terms of the final. Is it 16? Yeah, we 16th. Final 16, yeah, I think so. The FA Cup, obviously, we've got Man United in a couple of weeks' time. But at the moment, all my focus is on Chelsea at the moment. And then he was asked about Declan Rice. Obviously, they had a lot of conversation about Rice and his valuation and comments made by obviously Jim White, Mark Noble in the Evening Standard. He said he's a top player and he has been for a number of years, and that was it. There was nothing else to talk about Declan Rice. Obviously, game will have his own club, his old club. He's chucked out at 13. We took him open arms and made him the player he was. Hashtag just saying. And that's it. As I said, keep an eye out for the Football London blog or the West Ham page on the Football London website. John T. Coleman's Twitter, at John T. Coleman, for all the embargo stuff. I think there'll be some interesting, juicy things. He had a bit of a glint, didn't he, in his eye, John T., when he said that. When he said, I can't, there's some things I want to can't talk about just yet. So that'd be quite interesting. And that's it. So also tonight we have got Irish Tommy talking about whether it's a corner turned or a false dawn in terms of West Ham's recent upturn in form. And so make sure you check out that and join Tommy 10 p.m. UK time for all that. And then I'll hopefully, if I get out of bed in time, I will be doing the match day morning very early. So for our Asian and APAC, anyone that region, it'll be like your afternoon, innit? It'll be early afternoon over there. Sort of 7:30, quarter to 8 in the morning in the UK, and 12:30 kickoff. Anton will be doing the watch along, and then we'll have the starting 11 show as well, about 10 o'clock ish, and then we will have the watch along, and then I'll run around like an idiot outside London Stadium and trying to grab people. If you are going to the game and you fancy a little chat after the game, straight after, I'll be around where the European statue is, the 1965 statue. So hang around there, and I'll walk past and just grab me. And all that. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends. Come on, you irons. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta, my friends. Bye-bye.